Wonderland is a 2009 stop-motion fantasy horror film directed by Henry Selick and was based on Neil Gaiman's novel of the same name. It stars Dakota Fanning, Terry Hatcher, Jennifer Saunders, Dawn French, and Keith David as a talking cat. He must really like playing cats. Anyway, this has been a long-requested one, so let's stop wasting time. The premise of Coraline revolves around an adventurous young girl named Coraline Jones, played by Fanning, who is trying to get used to her transition to a new place after moving from Pontiac, Michigan. Now, Coraline's parents have been dealing with a lot and haven't really had any time to do anything fun and exciting with Coraline. So, because of this, Coraline decides to go looking in hopes of finding something exciting to do. That's when she discovers a hidden secret world behind a hidden door that promises everything that she's ever wanted. Her house is nicer, she eats better food, and her other parents dedicate more time with her. She's more than happy upon unearthing the place and decides to kick back there a bit. But after she deduces that her other mother has a sinister agenda that involves her and Coraline, she decides that she has to leave this horrible nightmare before her other mother can act these plans out. And she'll need the help of a wisecracking, yet highly intelligent, anthropomorphic cat played by Keith David, who seems to be able to hop between dimensions. As usual, the premise gets a lot of praise for being so unique, and the way the entire story played out was so satisfying, since it felt like we were slowly uncovering all of these things with the main protagonist. This is a film that keeps a lot of its biggest and darkest secrets hidden until the final act. Secrets that include what the other mother has planned, how YB's neighborhood stalker, voiced by Robert Bailey Jr., grandmother knows about the doll that looks like Coraline, as well as what happened to his grandma's sister. All of these things were moments that get a lot of focus, so it leaves you curious enough to keep you watching, wanting to know all the answers to all these questions. And man, did that make all of the reveals in this film so much more better, because they're so unexpected and so shocking that my mouth literally dropped open in some scenes. I didn't know that was actually a thing, that something could shock you to the point where your mouth just uncontrollably opens from shock. I give Promise an A+. It was a lot of fun and had some great heart. And it mixed with the dark moments surprisingly well. Next is voice acting. Honestly, the stress demonstrated by the parents, especially with how enthused they sounded in some scenes, was really fitting. Actually, I think it made sense for them not to have that much emotional energy because of all the shit being dumped on them. Coraline's father can't find motivation to work, and her mother is so caught up with work that she doesn't get to really have a break. This is a lot to take. Their delivery is so amazing because of this, since it genuinely does seem like they are empty due to all the stress they've experienced. And it makes sense due to all the things I mentioned. This can all be very emotionally draining. And they, Terry Hatcher and John Linnell, also do a very good job switching off to the other parents, since they have such vast differences in terms of delivery compared to the regular parents. They actually do seem like different characters compared to the regular parents, to the unique twist that Terry and John give to their characters, thus making them stand out from those ones. Dakota Fanning also does a good job, since she plays her role in such a realistic way. She really did exhibit the proper attitude when it came to this, since I could almost feel how frustrated she was due to her situation. For example, there's a certain kind of certain desperation in her voice after a while when she's asking her parents to do stuff, almost like she's begging them to spend time with her. And it even gets to the point where it seems like she has no hope that anything exciting will happen. It's kind of sad in a sense, since you can definitely understand Coraline's loneliness. And I think we've all felt like we were being ignored at one point. So it makes sense to see where she was coming from. I also really enjoyed Keith in this. He really stole every scene he was in, and just the snarky attitude of his character was a lot of fun. I give voice acting an A+. Everyone put everything into their characters. Next is animation. A good part of the horror in this film is how much detail was put into the animation. I also want to point out that was some genius symbolism of having the real world being cloudy and gloomy, while the alternate world was very bright and colorful. This really did give you the impression that it was an alternate world because of how vastly different everything was. I also think that all the vibrance complemented the other parents in terms of horror. You already know something is off with the other parents, especially the other mother, aka the Beldam. And the fact that they're acting like everything is fine and that Coraline has nothing to worry about is very unsettling, since you already know Coraline was warned about this place several times. And the bright colors of the world just, like I said, adds to the horror, because you know that this is, not a good place, and just that just gives it a whole other uncanny feel, because that's not what you expect from a place like that, from a place that would be dangerous, I give animation an A. It was very detailed in terms of dark imagery and tone. Now humor. As I probably said, the talking cat in this was definitely my favorite character, since not only was he just so engaging to watch, but he was also kind of a prankster. He just did whatever he wanted, and his delivery of all of his lines are just perfect. Also, the best part about him is that he comes into the other mother's lair despite her wishes. Because if any of you have ever owned a cat, then you'll know that they do not give a shit if they are doing something that you do not like. The very first scene with Wyatt and Coraline is also great, because they just show how weird social awkwardness can get. YB doesn't mean to, but there are times where he can come off as kind of stalkerish and even kind of like a smartass. So it makes sense for Coraline to be kind of annoyed with him. So it's pretty comical when they have their encounters, since not only is it unintentional on YB's end, but it just completely goes against Coraline's luck due to the fact that she kind of wanted to avoid him at first. I give humor an A+. It was just so great because of how well it balanced with the dark tone. I was kind of scared it would be distracting at first from the dark tone, but they still managed to maintain it. Finally, directing. Henry Selick spun a web of morbid curiosity, disturbing imagery, and dark secrets in a way that felt very satisfying to watch. Like I said, this film relies heavily on twists, so the fact Henry Selick kept everything cryptic at the beginning, such as the hidden door being bricked over and hearing strange stories about it, only to reveal it in such a dramatic way, was ingenious, because the subtle hints he scattered throughout the films regarding these secrets were done in a way that makes you wonder the significance of these strange hints. Also, the way he crafted these worlds was pretty good, since there was just so much going into them, not only in terms of detail, but also characters. You could probably make a short animated film out of all the characters in this. That is how much depth that Selick gives to them. I give directing an A+. I really loved all the detail that Henry Selick put into this. He just gave so much effort, and you could definitely tell. Overall, Coraline is a film that I really wish I saw when I was young, especially since it came out around the time when I was just getting into horror. I think it had to do with the fact that it was animated, and I felt that would deter from the horror. It's kind of, despite the fact that I grew up with shit like Courage the Cowardly Dog. It's kind of a shame, since I feel I definitely would have loved the legit edge this film has, which is an important thing to have in horror, since it not only presents a dangerous situation, but also has moments that will make you cringe, aka cringe horror. Like the scene with the buttons. Yikes. But honestly, I really like that this film was so dark, since it's so interesting to see how far you can exactly go in a horror story for kids before you're going too far. I give Coraline an A+. It was very well made in hell. Even had some amazing shots as well. Like the scene where the garden is fashioned to look like Coraline. Anyway, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and sub for more content.